All right, guys, make sure you have your notes from yesterday out. If you need additional paper, you need to go ahead and get that out as well. This should be where we left off in our notes yesterday. So we were talking about how William Henry Harrison is the territorial governor of the Northwest Territory, and the Shawnee Chief Tecumseh is going to start having an issue with William Henry Harrison and the settlers coming in to that region of the country, the Northwest Territory. Even though the United States and the Native Americans had established the Treaty of Greenville, which said that the United States could settle in that region, Tecumseh is going to get so angry about it that he is going to form a confederacy to resist U.S. settlement in that area. So basically, he's going to form a little Native American army to resist settlement. The first time that William Henry Harrison and Tecumseh come head-to-head is the Battle of Tippecanoe. This is going to be the famous battle that happens. And the United States is going to find out that Native American weapons are being supplied by the British. So we're already not on the best terms with the British because they're, just kidnapping our sailors, attacking our ships, that kind of thing. And we just got out of the American Revolution with them, right? So we are not going to be very pleased that they are now giving Native American weapons to be able to attack the United States. So a group in Congress called the Warhawks are going to start to try to convince people that it is entirely necessary that the United States go to war with Great Britain over these issues, that the United States cannot continue to put up with these things because they're just going to continue to be walked over. Okay, does that make sense? So they're going to try to convince everybody in Congress that the United States has to go to war with Great Britain, and they're going to get them to vote on the issue. The leader of the Warhawks is Henry Clay, and we will talk more about him later. But right now, what you need to know is that he is a Warhawk, one of the most famous Warhawks. In response to this, the U.S. is going to declare war on Great Britain. So the Warhawks were successful in convincing everyone else in Congress that a war was necessary. This is going to be opposed by the Federalist Party at the Hartford Convention, and they are basically going to say that they don't want to go to war because they favor peace and they also favor trade. So they want the U.S. economy to continue to be successful. They want to be able to trade with Britain. They don't want to be involved in another war, which I think is a valid point. There are going to be three aspects mainly for the war. Okay, the first one is the war in Canada. The second is the war at sea. And the third is the attack on D.C. So we're going to go into more detail with the first one, the war in Canada. So first of all, who owns Canada during this time period? The British, right? So the Warhawks are going to want to invade and conquer Canada. So at this point, it's not just about, trying to defend the United States against their attacks on our ships or against them kidnapping our sailors. It is literally trying to take territory from them. Okay, so the war is kind of evolving into something that it wasn't originally intended to be. The most important battle in the Canada aspect of the war is the USS Constitution. This is going to be a battle that the U.S. wins against Great Britain, and it is won on the Great Lakes. Okay, so it is up north where the Great Lakes are located. And it's led by Commander Oliver Hazard Perry. The second aspect of the war is the war at sea. Okay, the British are known for having a very, very, very powerful navy. They still have a powerful navy today. So you got to think, during this time period, the United States is just getting established. There's no way we have as good of a navy as they do. Okay, the British are going to blockade the United States. A blockade is basically when they prevent you from going somewhere. And they're going to do this with ships. They're going to keep the U.S. ships in the port. So basically, U.S. ships cannot go anywhere. They can't do anything because the British ships are surrounding them. The third aspect is the attack on D.C. And this is going to be what really signifies that the U.S. isn't doing very well in the war. Okay, so with the attack on DC, the British are really going to pretty much show that they are in charge. And they are going to burn many buildings in the Capitol, including the White House. They're going to completely burn down the White House. They are also going to attack in Baltimore. And this is where they're going to salvage the first American flag. And it is going to inspire Francis Scott Key to write the Star-Spangled Banner. They're going to wave it above a building, signaling that they have succeeded in the battle. So it is a signal of American victory when they were attacked at Baltimore. So here's a little video of the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner. Okay, maybe not. Wait 1 second. Now we are reaching the end of the war. And one of the last battles is the Battle of New Orleans. And this is going to be won by the United States. And it is actually going to be fought after the official end of the war and led by Andrew Jackson. Okay, so during this time period, you got to think, there weren't cars, there weren't telephones. It was pretty old-fashioned, right? So it's going to take a long, long time for them to be able to get news that the war has actually come to an end. So Andrew Jackson is just going to continue fighting his little heart out. And he is going to win this major battle. And this is going to make him very famous. And he's going to become a war hero because of this. And later on, we will see how Andrew Jackson uses this to his advantage when he runs for president. Now we're going to look at the outcome of the War of 1812. So kind of some of the results that are going to develop because of the war. So of course, at the end of a war, you have to have a treaty. So they're going to sign the Treaty of Ghent. This is going to end the war between the U.S. and Great Britain. And also under the Treaty of Ghent, they are going to decide that it's kind of a tie. Okay, we just talked about how the Americans were losing in D.C., but they won in Baltimore, and they also won the Battle of New Orleans. So it's very hard to tell who actually won. So they're going to decide on a tie. And the way that they do this is they're going to reopen trade between the U.S. and Great Britain. So now they're going to start trading again. There's no more embargo. They're going to promise not to attack each other's ships. They're not going to exchange any lands. So basically, they were going after Canada, but that doesn't happen. So both the United States and Britain keeps the same territory that they've had. And this is the last conflict that the United States is ever going to have with Great Britain, at least up until this point, right? In World War I and World War II, the United States is always going to be on the same side as Great Britain. Now we're talking about the effects of the War of 1812. So this is where you're going to do your chart later on. We're going to finish that up. Okay, one effect is nationalism. Nationalism is basically just another word for patriotism, except for it's extreme, extreme patriotism. So think about what the word patriotism means. That basically means that someone has extreme pride for their country, right? So nationalism is that magnified by 1,000. This war is going to become known as the Second War for Independence, the first war being the American Revolution. So it's just another war against Great Britain, trying to prove ourselves as separate entities. And this is going to mark the end of the Federalist Party. So again, we're going to see another transition of political parties. Okay, the next thing you are going to do is you're going to complete this assignment. I am going to put you in groups, so go ahead and read the directions carefully. You may want to jot down some of the directions. I'm going to write them on the board as well. After you have read the directions, you need to put your Chromebook up, and I will give you further directions.